Alright, I already know what you're asking. Where's that other M video that you promised us 3.5 months ago? Well, you're probably gonna have to wait another 3.5 months for that one. And you're also probably thinking, whoa, Marathon? I didn't think you were gonna get this game based on what you said over a year ago. We'll talk about that next time too. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're going to be talking about something else that's been going on in the dystopian future of this gaming industry that I love so much. I love talking about this. And I really love the dystopian fact that we're going to have to start paying $80 for video games. We don't own any of our games, and if we mess with a console in a way that the developers do not seem fit, then they'll just lock us out and we cannot use anything until we buy another $500 device. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Nintendo. But we're actually not going to be talking about Nintendo today, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually going to be talking about Sony and PlayStation, because there's some new information that kind of came out as of today, and it's very concerning. You see, I'm a very simple man. If I buy a game, I expect to own that game, even if I buy it digitally. Now, we have seen this time and time again that developers do not think, or publishers rather, do not think that you own digital goods. They think that they just sell you a license, and they can expire said license at any point in time when they feel that that game is no longer going to sell anymore. Ubisoft. Ugh. Sorry, I don't know. There's a cold going around right now. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, with digital games, that is probably, I would say, the most use or most bought version of games nowadays. I mean, when do you really go to the store and buy physical games now? Especially when games such as Doom the Dark Ages from companies like id, who are known for putting their full games on the disc, only give you a game disc with about 800 megabytes on it, or 80 megabytes on it rather, and you have to download the rest of the game digitally. So, what's the point of buying a game physically at that point? Well, this is where this PlayStation news comes in, and it's very concerning. Just take a look at this tweet from Culture Crave, stating any PlayStation game purchased digitally after March's system update will reportedly now require an internet connection once every 30 days to validate the license. If the console stays offline for longer than that, the games will not launch until you reconnect. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not connect to the internet within 30 days of being offline, you can no longer play your games because you cannot validate your license. Now, why is this a problem? Well, let's say there's something wrong with your PlayStation 5 and one of the components that is required to connect to the internet breaks for whatever reason, including your LAN port, and none of that stuff works. Guess what? You now have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to get that thing fixed, or you have to go buy a new PS4/PS5, which also costs money. See the recent price hikes? It's not going to be cheap. But anyway, that is the main issue here. If I am purchasing a game, why does the company I purchased the game for need to validate the licenses if it validates it when I initially buy that game? You don't know what my situation is going to be 30 days from now, and I sure as hell don't either, for the most part. So, why are we making this a big deal? Well, like I just said, if I purchase a game, I should own it, even if it is a digital good, because things like GOG exist, where if I buy a digital game, I have access to the exe file, and I own that game forever. But I know what you're thinking. You're like, Cods, let's read what the full message says. Oh, okay, let's do that. Thank you for your interest on the 30-day timer that is being applied to all new purchases. Affected content. Games purchased digitally after the March 2026 update. Offline functionality. If the console does not connect to the internet within 30 days, the license expires and the game may refuse to launch until a connection is restored. primary console restriction. Setting a console to primary does not bypass this 30-day requirement. Now, let's unpack this a little bit. This comes directly from that Culture Grave tweet. So, basically, if I purchase a digital game, and for whatever reason, I lose online access, for example. I cannot connect to the internet for 30 days, and this game either was purchased after March 2026 or was released after March 2026, the system update for the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, I can no longer access this game because my license will be invalid, and it will not be able to update it until I connect to the internet again. Basically invalidating my purchase. What the fuck is that all about? No. I'm not here for that. But let's see what some other people say on Twitter as well. Of course, I did want to see what some more PlayStation-focused outlets wanted to say about this too, so I did find this tweet from MPG right here, and I'll read that one out to you as well. One of my viewers contacted PlayStation support about the 30-day DRM update for PS4, PS5 games. The response they got makes it sound like it's not a mistake or bug, and is intentional. They describe it as a technical feature. Sony hasn't officially responded yet. The fact that this isn't a bug and seems intentional seems pretty concerning, but before we move on, let's take a look and see what the screenshots that MBG provided that his viewers sent him in order to get some more context about what he is basically saying. This here is the first screenshot that MBG provided from his viewer, stating, "It was never announced and no one agreed to have to check in every 30 days and not have access offline. It is not mentioned in the TOS. When you purchase a game digitally, you should not have to authenticate every 30 days. The support chatbot responds, "We understand your concern on this matter. While there hasn't been a formal public announcement from PlayStation, the introduction of the 30-day DRM timer is meant to be a technical measure." And if we take a look at the second screenshot, we see the exact same text box that we saw in the Culture Grave tweet, with the viewer responding, "That is bullshit." And I 100% agree. That is absolutely bullshit if that is the case. If I buy a product, just because I lose internet access for 30 days or more afterwards does not mean I should not be able to buy that product. MBG even said in response to this message that this is why physical games are so important, because they have true ownership over them. Even though some games do not have the full game on the disc, we're not talking about those specifically. We're mainly talking about the ones that have a true 1.0 version directly on the disc that you can fully play through without having any patches or updates. Reminder, patches and updates for games are not the expectation for the game to work properly. They are supposed to be an added bonus to help optimize the game if there is whatever problems that there is. A game should come out completely fully finished, and you should be able to play it on its 1.0. So sorry, this is bullshit, frankly. But it seems like some people just can't help but defend at any cost. Now, let's take a look at another PlayStation user, PorterRock77. Let's take a look at what he had to say about this. PorterRock says the following: "Just stop the BS and go ask PlayStation support directly." Now, I will confirm this when I checked it as of 30 minutes ago. When I checked the chatbot myself, I did get very similar responses from the chatbot for this specifically. But the amount of copium in this guy's replies saying, "You need to talk to a real person. If you talk to the chatbot, they won't do shit." Guess what? PorterRock did just talk to a chatbot. All these other people that got the similar response about this DRM issue were also talking to a chatbot. So, either the chatbot is confused, or you are not being honest with what you're seeing. There's two different things about that, really. Like, we cannot just sit here and say that, oh, well, you're talking to an AI chatbot, how can you trust that? Talk to a real person, when you also didn't talk to a real person, and the screenshots that you are providing also show that is not a real person. And we'll get into that. In the replies of Porter Rock's tweet, Porter Rock responds in the thread saying, "Do the job yourself and get your own answer. I did, and that's what I got. You are allowed to talk to PlayStation support yourself. I'm not trusting any of you grifty motherfuckers online. Go talk to PlayStation support yourself and see what answer you get." Now, I will be honest, Porter Rock does have some valid criticism right here, especially in the screenshots that he showed before, because I did talk to the chatbot myself, just to kind of see if I could get my own answers, let's say that. But I did get similar answers to what Porter Rock said, personally. But the problem is that the fact that other people are getting different screenshots, like this user here, not be happening at all. I do believe this is happening because Sony has showed that they have no thought towards the consumer and they just want your fucking bank account. They don't want anything more than that. Savage Datman states that I got this 30 minutes ago, and let's read what the chatbot said to him. Savage Datman, or whoever the user in this screenshot, says to the chatbot, "Do I have to log in every 30 days to play digital games?" The response is yes. For digital games on PlayStation, you typically need to log into your account at least once every 30 days to verify your license for the games you own. This is part of the digital rights management to ensure that you have access to your purchased content. If you do not log in within that time frame, you may lose access to your digital games until you log in again. If you have any further questions or need yada yada yada. So, what is that all about? We're getting conflicting answers, and we have this user as well in the replies. Mr. Old Snake 90 states, "This is an AI. Just like any AI, you can't trust everything it says." Directly replying to this, we have user at Easy World saying, "Okay, let's go with an actual PlayStation support employee." That is correct. So, if I go offline for 30 days, I will need to reconnect to the internet to activate the game, right? That is correct. You'll need to connect to the internet at least once every 30 days for the license to continue on working. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. And yes, this is the latest requirement for the licenses to be updated to date. Okay, so just to confirm, after March update, I will need an active internet connection to keep my game license. That is correct. So now we're definitely getting mixed reports. Some people say that it isn't, like Porter Rock, or other people are saying that they are getting confirmation from actual employees that this is now the case. Like the thread on screen now shows, that this could be a bug, but even if it is a bug, this is a pretty bad bug, and Sony not coming out and confirming that it is a bug is also pretty damning as well, leading most people, including myself, to think that this is actually an intentional feature that they are adding to the PlayStation ecosystem, which is not a good thing. Now, one more thing here before we actually show some proof of what is going on. We have Porter Rock here also saying, PSA, there was no 30-day online check-in requirement for digitally purchased games. I had my console off the internet more than 30 days multiple times when I traveled with it and was never locked out of my digital games. It only locked out the PS Plus subscription monthly games. But respectfully, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is any games that are purchased after the current March update, so March 2026, any game purchased after that time frame, or any game purchased that was released after that time frame. I'll talk more about why I think that in a moment. But we're not talking about any game digitally purchased. We're talking about any game digitally purchased after that time frame. So, respectfully, you are not speaking the truth here. Just because in the past there was not a 30-day DRM limit that checked your licenses to verify them all the time does not mean they did not implement it now. Also, the second point is, we're talking about now. Just because there was not a 30-day online check requirement back then, whenever you were looking at your digital library when you were out traveling and off the internet for 30 plus days, does not mean that it's not the case now. And let's show some proof of that. Culture Crave responded to their own tweet saying, here's how the check-in looks, via Spawnwave Media with a YouTube video link, with a screenshot of Spawnwave trying to load into a game saying, can't use this content. Can't connect to the server to verify your license. Wait a while and then try again. Now, obviously, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt because obviously I need to check and vet this information for myself, so I watched the video. And, sorry Spawnwave, but we're gonna take and watch this little clip of him showing what happens when you remove the CMOS battery, which effectively, one, erases all data on the console in terms of time frame and licenses, has the game downloaded on the hard drive, and removes the internet LAN cable so then he is not connected into the internet. Let's take a look and see what happens.
With that in mind, let's see what happens here when we try to fire up Saint Slayer. And there you go. Can't use this content. Can't connect to the server. To verify your license, wait a while and then try again. Okay, so Saint Slayer does not work. Vampire Crawlers, same deal. Can't use this content. Can't connect to the server to verify your license. Okay, wait a while and try again. With that in mind, Crimson Desert, they get picked that up when it, like, once it came out, more than a month ago now. And we picked that guy. Yeah, looks like that one fires up no problem. Digital game. The whole idea is that this situation that's going on right now with the license check is not being retroactively applied. So any of your current digital games should not have this issue popping up. We can see offline, CMOS reset, the whole thing. The license is not broken for Crimson Desert. Okay, so let's go back, and I would like to check, if I could, check Pragmata, although I have a little lock symbol on that guy. I do want to check Pragmata real quick to make sure. That one seems to load up fine as well. So as far as I can see right this second, those new games are affected, but any of the ones I've had already purchased, or a physical game, even one more recent like Pragmata, is not affected. But there is something I wanted to try, as this was also brought up. I want to see what happens if I go in and I fix the time manually. All right, because in some cases, licenses, especially if maybe they did something here, would still maybe need to see that it is like current year or at least somewhat within proximity of, okay, yeah, it's around the time that this game released. Well, I should be able to get, I mean, somewhat close, maybe not exact in terms of timing, but I should be able to get, let's see, we're at 4, okay. So I have now fixed the date manually. Let's see. Everything looks good there, so let's go back and we'll try to fire up, let's see, Saint Slayer. Still same thing, okay. Need to verify the license. Okay, so let's go to the same thing there, yep. And then, even though I see that lock symbol, by the way, on Crimson Desert, I mean, that is, that's also still loading up. So this is kind of the situation that we're seeing right now, is that it, at least from what I'm gathering right now with this test, yeah, there is some kind of check-in period, and I guess 30 days is being brought up, but there is certainly something happening here with digital purchases made a la carte that you would have on your account that you supposedly own that still need to be checked in for a server, even if it's full single player or what have you, that was not previously in effect, I guess, even last month. Finally, I went ahead and plugged in the LAN cable. We'll get this connected to the internet, let it be able to restore license, sync anything up that it needs to. So let's see. Connect the internet, and there we go. Loads right up. It's able to call home, restore your license, and then you're able to play without any issues. Let's go ahead, do Vampire Crawlers. Same deal. So some people were concerned that if you don't play the game or sign in for 30 days, you lose the game. Not the case, okay? It stays on your account. You just need to verify with Sony through the internet so they can do re-up your license or what have you, and then you can play.
Have it. So it looks like this is going to affect us after all, and the video game dystopian market is expanding to more customers. God, I fucking hate the current world we live in. And also, go fuck yourself, Sony. You think just because you are pretty big, which, let's be honest, you are, you can do whatever you want with people's money and just fuck around with people's wallets. No. You do not get to choose what I do with my money. I will choose to purchase something different and not spend my money with you. And at the same time, I cannot believe that people are absolutely sitting there applauding Sony for these changes, or even trying to defend them with these changes as well. It does not make sense to me at all, and you need to start respecting yourself slightly more and respecting your dollar a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, these companies are gouging the money out of your wallets and your bank accounts because that's all they care about. They don't care about you as a consumer. They care about their bottom line and nothing more. But, without further ado, thank you guys for tuning in this video. I know it's a little bit different from the stuff I've been posting recently, and I'll get back to another video soon. We're going to be talking about Marathon next time, so catch y'all later. Have a good one, everyone.